Welcome everyone to our talk, our Sunday afternoon talks. Today we have somebody really special amongst us, Jeffrey Armstrong, and he's coming to us from the west coast of the US. So it's quite early morning. So he's lovely and fresh, and we've had a few hours of getting through the day on a rather wet Sunday. But we want to welcome him. We would have loved to have welcomed him to the actual festival itself this year. He was due to be one of our keynotes at the festival, and we're doing the next best thing. We're postponing the festival, but still hearing him this year, and hopefully he'll grace us with his presence and attendance next year, because we have invited him to come and talk to us in person. He's a fabulous speaker. I have heard him speak publicly, and that's the reason I went up to him afterwards and said, please, sir, could you please come to our festival? And he was very kind. He said that he would, and he's really been a yoga practitioner for the last 50 years, and he's, like a lot of us, started off in corporate life, and almost a quarter of a century ago he gave that up and started a life of full-time teaching on, really, in terms of the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, the ever-fresh Dharma that we have. And he's taken to it very deeply. He's the author of many books. And over on the chat line at the moment, you'll have a few images relating to the covers of certain books that are relevant. So he's author of many books, a real scholar. And it's a real pleasure to have him amongst us today. Really appreciate you coming, Jeffrey. It's lovely to have you. I'll leave it to you to say what you're going to be talking about in terms of depth of the subject, how you want questions, and even a short introduction on yourself. That would be lovely. So welcome to the World Yoga Festival. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Ramanuj. It's an honor to be here and a joy. And this opportunity that we've all had to become more introspective in our lifestyles, I'm sure is a great lesson for all of us who are already inclined that way. It's like, don't force me to become introspective and stay home with the people that I love. So at this opportunity, I think it is like any stressful situation for a yogi, is an opportunity to reevaluate and look with a deeper insight into themselves and to everything going on around them. So the other day I came up with a little saying that it's all well and good. There's a virus going on, but from the Vedic perspective, that's happening all the time. So I'd like to say that the medicine is something I call Vedic Vid 108. That's the antiviral for whatever ails you. And so it'll be a great pleasure today to share some of the arcane secrets of the karmic perspective of reality. Also, my Sanskrit name is Kavindra Rishi. I wear both of them because, after all, I've had the grace of the gurus of Bharat come to me and deliver to me their enlightenment and wisdom. So I always begin Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Narayanam Namaskrityam, Naram Chaivanurotabam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udiriyat. That first and foremost, we must always thank the gurus and rishis who have so kindly carried this wisdom to us. And we are now have the opportunity to bring it to the rest of the world. I would like to say that over the years, I've reflected upon this. There's a methodology that's given in the Bhagavad Gita. One of the last secrets that Krishna gives in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is he uses the word guyam or guyatam that I've got these secrets that I'm giving you. And then he says, and here's an even better one. And here's an even better one. So in the course of the Gita, he says 6 or 7 times that this is a secret. I'm going to connect the technology of Jyotish, which I've practiced since 1973, with the knowledge of the Gita and the Yoga Sutras to show us how the concept of cause and effect is perceived in the Vedic culture. So I like to say sometimes that after a while, with this knowledge, you'll become what I am, a karma mechanic. You'll observe the cause and effect, and you'll see how the rishis held this broader perspective of who we are and who everyone is and what the process is that we're going through. So as I reflected on that today, I sensed that you would all be very experienced in this subject, and that this would be an opportunity to take you to another level of it. So I'd like you all to think of yourselves the way I do, is you are mayors of a great metropolis that I haven't visited, but we've decided to hold this gathering so you become better at being the mayor of the city of 9 gates, as it's described in the Bhagavad Gita, the Navadvare Pura. The city of 9 gates is this body that we're currently inhabiting. And we are described as the mayor, but unfortunately, in many cases, the mayor has been deposed, and the ugly tyrant Ahamkara, the misconceived version of self, has been running the city. And of course, the importance of this is that if you see yourself this way, then you'll also see that each morning when you get up, all of the residents of the city, the cells in your body, are just waiting for a directive from you, the mayor, to tell them who they are. The important thing to remember is that those citizens are dying at an astounding rate, way greater than COVID. Each day, millions and millions of cells die, and millions of new ones come on board with only your family genetic number printed on their t-shirt. They don't know who they are yet, but the rest of the cells in your body have been listening to somebody to find out who they are. So this is the Vedic process, that each morning we have satsang. Each morning at the sunrise, we greet the sun again, Om Bhur-bhuvasva Tat Savitur Vareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. We direct ourselves toward this luminous source of the light that we must have in order to live, and refresh ourselves and re-establish ourselves. This ritual of re-establishment of our true self is at the very heart of the Vedic Sanatan Dharma. Although we love getting together with each other and having sanghas and kumbha melas and gatherings of all kind, but we actually are first and foremost trained to be the mayor of our city and to get up each morning and reestablish the orderly, productive, and refined understanding of who we really are. So, as the mayors of your city of 9 gates, of the Navadvare Pura, it is most important for you to know, as mayor, who is running the city. And because of the colonization that took place with, I like to call India Bharat, so I'll say Bharat. So with Bharat, a displacement has taken place in the simple understanding of all of these things, because everyone's had to struggle so hard to exist for such a long time. I was thinking about it as this United States is right now plunged into the struggle, the racial struggle that's arisen most recently. But that's just a resurgence of something that was there from the beginning. We're really all emerging from 300 years or more of intense colonization, where certain people went around the world and disrupted civilizations that were quite ancient, as in the case of Bharat, told them they were inferior, denigrated them, spoke badly of them, broke the china, stole the dishes, colonized, left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, left some of them depressed and unhappy and twisted from slavery and other problems. It's really important that we remember this context, because those who don't study history are bound to repeat it, and those who don't remember what they've studied don't get the benefit. So each of these civilizations that's been damaged needs to go through a kind of therapy to restore itself, a kind of where was I, where were we, so that their civilizations and their legacies of culture can be revived. I believe that that's what we are all doing, that this is a renaissance, and each one of you is a sadhu, and each one of us has come back in this birth dissatisfied with the world that we see around us, and therefore very hungry to have knowledge, tools, and to regain the perspective that will allow us to be the best individual that we can be. And we're all seeking one thing. So let's state our purpose right at the beginning. And that is to reestablish ourselves in our very best version of self. And that version, the wiser we become, is moksha oriented. We know that ultimately we have a modicum of free will here within matter, and we want to optimize that, and we want to utilize it so we cause the least harm and have the maximum of freedom. This is our goal. And it's based on a premise. So the premise of Jyotish, the premise of the Veda, is that we are the Atma. And one of the things that I'm instituting in the modern world, this happened in English about 300 years ago during Shakespeare's time and during the Renaissance. They actually purposely dumped about 2,000 Latin words into English, because English didn't have certain words that were very intelligent. It was kind of a dirt farmer's language in England and very rough and inconsistent. So they had to import Latin so that there could become science, and so that the more refined individuals would have a language to talk about cause and effect. So I view Sanskrit, of course, which is the mother of Latin and the mother of Greek, and of 70%, the grandmother, we should say probably, of 75% or so of European languages. Russian, the word rishi is the basis of Russia. Ireland was Aryan. Scandinavia is Skanda, and so on. So behind all of the European languages, behind Latin and behind Greek, the featured cultures of intelligence within Western civilization, is the grandmother Sanskritam, who is many, many degrees of more perfected. And it is the perfection of Sanskrit that has meant that the wisdom and culture of Bharat has not been destroyed by colonization. Quite the contrary. It's just been waiting in the background to reestablish itself at the right historical moment. And this is that historical moment. We are now in a renaissance that requires us to use a new vocabulary. And I'm writing several books on that right now and translating the Bhagavad Gita without purports, just the verses, with all of the toxic English that doesn't belong inside of the Sanskrit text, taken out, with all of the copyright Christianity words removed, and instead with correct definitions of the Sanskrit terminology so that we now incorporate, to my thinking, a couple of thousand Sanskrit words into international commercial English. And this is what I'm in the midst of doing. And I'm putting out a book with 108 correctly defined Sanskrit words. And I'm pointing out 108 English words that are problematic and don't help our cause. And this is part of this process of becoming more articulate. So this discussion today will be a technical conversation for the mayors of their Navadvare Pura on how everything actually works and how they can cooperate with it. And in that regard, become better managers of the cause and effect. That is the basis of this jagat. So there's our first Sanskrit term. We are living in a universe, but it is a jagat. That jagat, gate means to go and move and to get from one place to another. And ja means janma or birth. So the jagat, the universe word in English means one, turning. And indeed, the jagat is a singularity. It is an entity just as we are. And it is progressing by a cyclic methodology. And that cyclic methodology, or samsara, is a continual renewal process. Everything is turning, and therefore as the wheel turns, we go through a series of steps, and those steps are the basis of the productive process. So now, there are three departments in the cosmos that we need to be cognizant of and not think of as sectarian, but as simply universal. This is the creative department, Brahma and Saraswati. The recycling department, Shiva and Durga, and they also act as Mother Nature and Father Nature, in which entropy takes place, which is really what the destructive process is. It's not destruction, that's misleading, sounds like we go to war. It's the process of entropy, because matter is a large number of molecules and particles clustered together into a unit that is not what it appears to be. It's made of parts. So the middle principle in this, again, not sect, but Brahma Saraswati, for anabolism, creativity. Shiva Durga, for catabolism, for the managers of this entropic process and matter itself. And the middle of the departments, which we say all the time when we go like this doesn't mean we're praying or asking for something. This means we're yogis. And namaste means I see that you are the Atma in the heart of your city. You're the mayor. And I'm acknowledging you as the mayor of the city, as the Atma residing within it. And I'm saying, I respect you. I see you as an immortal being on an amazing journey that you chose to be on. And I'm immediately, no matter what living entity you are, grasshopper, bear, human. And of course, we know that the paint job on your car is not you. We know that this is your vehicle. And we know that this is something you created, amazing you. So here's the story on that. The Jiva Atma, that's us, is just like Shiva. The words rhyme. Jiva is like Shiva. Shiva is this linga of effulgent light that is lighting up essentially the whole jagat. In the morning when she's adoring him, Durga says, you light up my life. because she's the context in which he is shining. And we, because we resemble that, our Brahman nature, which is eternally luminous, always shining, when we enter into matter, the particles of matter come and surround us. And we are the light at the center of that. And then another light is there, and that's Paramatma. That's the supreme being pervading everything, the Jagat Purush. This is the context of the Vedic Dharma. So what happens is, because we're a Shiva Linga of sort, all of the particles of matter come and bow to us and begin to orbit us, and we construct this body. We are at the center of it, each one of us, and also Paramatma. So these are the terms we need to know to be karma mechanics. Every one of us is an Atma on a journey. We're at the center of this conglomeration of many particles. And we're the mayor of the Navadvari Pura, of the city of 9 gates. And we go from one life to the next, to the next, to the next, experiencing the realm. So here's our next word, of Prakriti. Prakriti. The Sanskrit pra gives us the English word to produce. Kri means by repetitive cause and effect, by doing. And iti is the iterative part. Iteration in English, again and again, is iti in Sanskrit. Prakriti is doing again and again within the context of matter. So everything here is a construct. Everything here is built on a certain building principle. And that brings us to the first 3 words that we must know as karma mechanics and mayors of our city. The first is, and this is the basis, the root word for dharma and karma, ritam. The ri, the R with the dot under it in Sanskrit. That ri gives us the basis of the ritam, and the ritam is all of the codes that are directing cause and effect within Prakriti. So here within this realm, everything is conducted by cause and effect, and the material substance, which is unconscious in its intrinsic nature, dark and unconscious, is the realm we have entered. We're now in the realm of Prakriti, but we come from the realm of Briha, Brahman. Briha, you hear the Ri in there. Also, the Ri of Prakriti is the Ri of Briha, brilliant, of spota, of spouting. The Brahman reality is the original reality of luminous existence, and we are from there. And we have migrated from there to visit the dark, unconscious realm of Prakriti. This is a vision of themselves that if you ever become a Jyotishi, this is where you'll begin with a reminder to your client who they really are, that they're an amazing being on a long journey through the dark realms of matter, Prakriti, and that at the basis of Prakriti, the Kri of karma, the Dri of dharma, is from the Bri of Brahman, which, like us, has entered and animated Prakriti, and therefore the rules of nature that govern everything here are what causes cause and effect. And that is called the ritam, the re, in action as all the laws of nature. So just to interject here, but it's not complicated. The Vedic culture is a science culture. What I'm saying to you right now is the science in the Bhagavad Gita, the science in the Yoga Sutras. And oh, by the way, the same re word is at the root of the word vritti. Yogas, chit, vritti, nirodha. So while we're at it, yoga is removing the vrittis. What are the vrittis? Well, if you take the laws of nature and they're supposed to work in a particular way and you twist them up and distort them, they're called vrittis. Those vrittis are the problem that arises within cyclic matter when the cycles become obscured and twisted. English is very funny in the way it talks about this. And now you have your British term, knickers in a twist. Don't you? What if we just all have our knickers in a twist? What if that's the problem? What if we just got all twisted up in this cyclic reality and suddenly lost our way and forgot who we were and got I am amnesia, I like to call it. What if we're all suffering from I am amnesia and we've forgotten who we are? And that state is got us twisted up. And then what if persons of interest who want to manipulate us twist us further? Then sorting that out is the goal. Untwisting. You remember the 60s, there was a singer named Chubby Checker. Let's twist again like we did last summer. This was the beginning of the 60s movement, late 50s. I think he was teaching us to untwist our vrittis. He just didn't know how to say it. So this is the science of the ritam, the patterns that act as the laws of nature. And conformity to those gives us the optimum benefit from being here. Going against those twists us. And over time, we're the twisted result of the violation of the ritam. And that, you must have heard it, it's called a samskara. It's the scar tissue from twisted behavior in our past. One of the first karma words. I like to call it some scars. Some scars. The scars are the built-in twisted departments of our being in matter that were twisted so long in the past, we still consider them us. I'm sure you remember the term that all the yogis use. So one more science term for you. There are 6 darshans in the Veda. Darshans are ways of seeing. You remember the story of the 6 blind persons and the elephant? And they're all touching the elephant, but they're blind. And one touches the tail and says, oh, it's clearly a broom. One touches the legs and says, no, it's a post, a pillar. One touches the side, says, it's a wall, don't you see? The other touches the trunk and said, this snake is obviously what we're touching. One touches the tusks and says, these weapons are dangerous. One touches the ear and says, this is a winnowing fan, can't you tell? Who was wrong? No one. Who was right? Everyone. These are the 6 ways of seeing, dare I say, the elephant in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an elephant in the room, whether we want to see it or not. But seeing it is called darshan. And there are 6 of them: Samkhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. Uttara is Vedanta. So Samkhya is the first, and Samkhya is science. It's the analytical study of the components of matter. And by the way, in order to talk about Jyotish, we have to first honor a particular deva who's the companion of Jyotish. Because what would a good astrologer be trying to do? Control the destiny of someone? Do you think that would be wise? That's the first thing to learn not to do, is to tell people what to do. Secondly, don't make predictions. That's not your job. That'll just mess their life up worse. The role of the Jyotishi is to help everyone understand how to cooperate with the laws of nature. Jyotish is the science of light, Jyoti. And by the way, it gives us the English word joy. Isn't that fun? It's joytish. If you harmonize yourself with the laws of nature, with the ritam, you'll become joyful. Brahmabhuta prasanatma nasochati nakankshati, as the Bhagavad Gita says. You'll go back to the joy of Brahman. So now, here we are, we're the Jiva Atma. And just a side note, did you know that Jiva is the source of the word Eve, and that Adam is the Atma, and that Eve is the Jiva Atma? When the Atma from the realms of Brahman decided, that's us, to come and visit Prakriti, we entered into and became attached to matter. That is the Atma from Brahman becoming the Jiva Atma within Prakriti. And yes, that's where the Garden of Eden and all those twisted stories came from. Their root was Vedic. But the Abrahamics, bless their hearts, just over time, linguistic drift, the stories got a little twisted. Am I certain? Well, let me ask you, what's the beginning of Judaism? Who's the patrons? Abraham and Sarah? Could that be Brahma and Saraswati? Just saying. So just a little side journey for a moment here to show you that linguistically, this knowledge of the Vedic Vidya is rooted in Sanskrit. And if you follow cultures and languages back, you'll find that 5,700 years ago, there was a conflict at Kurukshetra. And Arjuna had spent 7 years going around the world, bringing different civilizations in as allies. I'm covering a wide scope for you because I know you're serious students of the Veda. So at that Mahabharat conflict, a lot happened. And eventually those people went back to Europe, to different places. And they all had known 5,000, almost 6,000 years ago, had been deep practitioners of the Vedic culture. And fragments of it you'll find all throughout the world. And this is a great work for all of us to do as yogis, to look for those fragments of culture. Now, back to where we were, I haven't forgotten. The Ritam. the ritam, or laws of nature, give us the English word rhythm. See how easy it is? And arithmetic, ri. See the ri in there? And written, to write things down, ri. And eventually, that ri became the ri of kri and karma. So based on the laws of nature, the laws of cause and effect, or karma, automatically unfold. And then dharma is the dri. The dri is the correct use of something. So it means the essential nature of a thing, which, if you take it away, that thing is no longer itself. That is called its dri, the root of the word dharma. The dharma of something emerges from its identity. If you understand its essential nature, you understand how to use it. And now we have the basis of Jyotish, the basis of Samkhya, the darshan of science. And we didn't do our invocation yet, though. Who's in charge of all of this? Detailed understanding. The elephant in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce you to Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Elephant head, human body. What's the message? Isn't that us? Did you know that the word zodiac is the word zodiac? And that in astrology, we all are riding on an animal. Are we not? Human animals? Well, not us, the Atma, but is not our vehicle a half animal, half human? And is not the ultimate scientist, the first child of Mother and Father Nature, who was made of the DNA from the body of Durga that she scraped off in her bathhouse, shaped into Ganesha, blew life into him. Shiva cut his head off, put an animal on. What is this telling us? Oh yes, we're all a work in progress, are we not? Are we not progressing from life to life? Is that not the goal? I don't know if you can see him on your screen, but Ravi Ji has a wonderful friend with him, a canine friend. Ravi Ji, weren't we all just like your friend in a previous birth? Isn't he an Atma inside? Aren't we all?
He is, yes.
And don't we all have this paradox that we are the animal and the jiva? We're the jiva Atma. We're here with the heebie-jeebies. We don't know what to do, whether to be an animal or whether to be a divine being.
Indeed. I think he's a relation from a previous life.
No doubt. No doubt. Lucky him. A yogi who, like Judd Bharat, took birth as a creature again. So, my beloveds, we're now progressing. So, are you ready? Let's now, as mayors, allow me to introduce you, now that you're talking to Ganesha and invoking his presence, so your obstacles are removed. What obstacles? You know, all of those vrittis that twist us. When you see you're in one of those twisted vortexes, your yogic alarm should go off. And as the mayor used to say, alert, alert, we have twisted behavior in Sector 16 of the city. Someone go untwist it. The twisted stories, the twisted dramas. One great Vedic poet in English said, forget the past which sleeps, and narrow the future, dream it all, but live in times that are with you, and progress you will call. The great Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So now, here's the words. We have the Ritam, we have the Ri, we have the Kri, the cause and effect that is moving Prakriti. We have Dharma, the Dri, the correct use or incorrect use of something. This terminology is the scientific terminology of understanding who we are. We are the Atma from Brahman, the original Ri, the brilliant Brahman. But now, here, we're learning of this other realm, we the Jiva Atmas, because we've embraced Prakriti. And we're now going through samsara. All of us right now in this seminar, we're more together than we've ever been this lifetime through this gathering. Samsara means sam, together, and sara, swimming. We are swimming together. We're a pod of human dolphins. We're a pod of atmas who just happen to have a similar evolution right now, which brought us together in this gathering, in this pod. Could we be a Prabhupada? So as a pod of dolphins, here we are in the same process of self-realization in samsara, inside Prakriti, having come from Brahman, being an Atma. We are now under the rules of Prakriti. And now there are 3 departments that we should be in touch with as the mayor. We should talk regularly to Brahma and Saraswati about the creative process, since every day we're creating new cells. And then to Durga and Shiva, we should ask how we're doing in detoxifying, removing the poisons, carrying away the corpses, burning them, and renewing ourselves. Is that not Triambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanam, Mrityor Mokshya Mamritat? Is this not a conversation about the Amrit? Is the Ri not at the basis of the Amrit as well? Amritam, Asatoma, Sadgamaya, Tamasoma, Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma, Ritam. Oops, there's Ri again. Now, it's time for us to introduce ourselves to Vishnu and Lakshmi. Because at the center of all of this, the calm center of it, Vishnu and Lakshmi are this. These two are Vishnu and Lakshmi. They should never have been separated. Sadly, the Abrahamic religions neglected her. Our world is a mess right now because the feminine divine is missing. I can't say it enough. She is life. She is the basis of life. She is the wisdom of life. She is the source of life. Oh, and did you know when we're in her womb, we're called an embryo? An embryo. Bri again. No Sanskrit in English, though. Just wanted to say. So, embryo that we were, held in the lap of our mother. Aham Brahmasmi, an immortal being on a journey here. Now, Vishnu and Lakshmi Lakshmi, by the way, is not money. Money is a problem. The English is wealth, and the word wealth is well-being, which used to be called in Old English weal. Lakshmi is not money. She is everything that gives well-being. And Vishnu is health. Health is the balance of opposing systems. Do you see it? This is the correct balance of opposing opposites. This is the basis of the universe, of the entire Jagat. If it becomes twisted, it's vritti. If not, it's like this. And this is the mudra for us to introduce ourselves to Vishnu and Lakshmi. Not I want, not dehi, dehi, give me, but please engage me in your service, and please keep me balanced in the midst of this swirling realm of matter so I don't get twisted. Om Vishnu Patni Mahamaye Mahaparusha Lakshane Priyeta Me Mahabhage Lokamatar Namostute. Lead me to Bhagavan, Priyeta Me Bhage, not give me money. Oh, Lakshmi, you're the consort of Bhagavan. You and Vishnu hold everything together. Now, here's where we're going. Jyotish begins with this conversation we just had. Jyotish is the extension of Samkhya. It's the protection of Ganesha. It's the child of Mother Nature. It's the light of Brahman coming in, but there's a missing piece in our understanding. Now, everything within the Veda, I'm speaking to you all as scholars. I hope you see this today. I could see that you needed something deep and substantial. So this Vishnu department is where the avatars come in, whose job is to rebalance the cosmos, the Jagat. The Rig Veda says, Jagadatma Surya Chandra Mamanaso Veda. The sun is the Atma of the universe, and the moon is the mind of the universe, the Manas. All of the balancing avatars, the Das Avatars as they're called, the Yuga Avatars, who come down periodically throughout history, are a particular form of Vishnu that enters into the Jagat and realigns it, a kind of chiropractic adjustment. Vishnu comes, kills asuras, removes problems, untwists cosmic vrittis, resets the orbits, and there you are, balanced again. Thank you, Doctor. So, the Vedic astrology that contains all the secrets, the Jyotish, of how the light interacts with Prakriti, was given by Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva. And the book that he wrote 5,000 years ago, the Parashara Aura, begins describing the basis of karma. And I'm about to recite to you the verse that explains the whole subject. So in the beginning of that book, if you find a version of the Parashara Aura, in the first 15 verses, the author describes the 10 avatars of Vishnu. Matsya Kurma Varahascha, Narasingho Chavamana, Ramo Rama Charamascha, Krishna Kalkir Janardanaha. From the Garuda Purana, there are 10 Yuga Avatars whose job it is to realign the cosmos. The astrological text begins with the author explaining that the 9 planets, 10 including Earth, are the avatars of the Dasa avatars of Vishnu. And the name of Vishnu, that is the being who is maintaining the balance of the entire universe and our karma, is Janardanaha. So the Parashara Aura next says, and here's the secret, Jivanam Karma Falado Graha Rupi Janardanaha. The living entities, Jivanam, that's us, all the mayors of their city, Karma Falado, receive the fruit of their actions, inevitably, no choice. Graha Rupi, now the name of the planets is Graha, to grab, to grasp. English, gravity. Hole in the ground, grave. Sanskrit, guru, gravitas in Latin. Guru, heavy. Heavy with vidya. Jivanam, all the living entities. Karma, whenever they act, put in motion reactions that will bear fruit. It's how they do things within matter. Jivanam, karma falado, graha rupi, and the planets grab them. The function, rupa, form, of the grahas is to grab the jiva atmas and give them the results of their action, acting on behalf of Vishnu as Janardanaha. Jana or Janma, Ardana, the keeper of the difficult journey of the Atma from birth to birth. Jivanam Karma Falado, Graha Rupi Janardanaha. The planets that deliver the cause and effect or karma of the Jiva Atmas are themselves avatars of Vishnu, each one of them corresponding to the Yuga Avatars that give the cosmos its karma and bring it back into alignment. The goal, alignment, balance again. The twistedness, the vrittis, the result of our departure from the ritam. The ri from the bri becomes the kri and the dri. Within Prakriti, in samsara. And now, the next words are going to be cause and effect words. But the next thing to understand from the Jivanam Karma Falado, Graha Rupi Janardanaha, just imagine that you went to a doctor. I read a book once by a doctor who was a surgeon for 30 years, and he said in his book that after a while, the bodily organs all spoke to him. he could actually hear them talking when a patient came in. He would hear the liver grumbling, I'm not getting enough of this enzyme and that enzyme, and the kidneys would be going, yeah, we're unhappy too, and on and on and on and on. And the heart would be saying, I don't like the way I'm being treated. I'm not being treated right. He actually heard their conversations. So what I would like you as mayors of your city to understand is that just as in your body, you have bodily organs, so the 9 grahas, the 9 planets of Jyotish, are the delivery system for your karma. The verse that I quoted, Jivanam karma phala do, means, if I put this in simple terms, the 9 grahas are UPS, Universal Parcel System. Whatever we do creates a reaction. That reaction will then go into the hands of UPS, be queued up for delivery, and at a particular moment in time will be delivered on a particular flight, on a particular trajectory, at a particular moment, in a particular context, all of our choosing. Our choosing is our doing. We don't choose the outcome because we don't see the connection. We choose the doing. The grahas, on behalf of Janardana, Vishnu, keep the balance of the universe by giving all the living entities the result of what they did. It's not personal. It's not punishment. It's simply response. It's just that our freedom doesn't include changing the laws of Prakriti. So therefore, we're here to learn of ourself, and to work with Prakriti is to begin acknowledging that there's something greater than ourself, which is what we forgot when we came to matter. And what happened when we landed in unconscious matter? I call it I amnesia. Every single one of us simply forgot Aham Brahmasmi. That's what we forgot. And we landed in a place where we attracted a covering. The covering can't resist us. Those little particles are orbiting us right now. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the body you're sitting in is just food orbiting consciousness. It's your lunch body. It's just what you had for lunch for the last 7 years. That's all. It's particles of food orbiting you, the Jiva Atma. It is the reaction, or it's in the midst of reacting to your bad food combining, to the thoughts you thought while you ate, to the vibrations you were surrounded by, to the deeds that you did. We are all a sculpture that we have sculpted as we go along. We're ad hoc artists sculpting ourselves out of particles of goo. And that's what the matter is called, isn't it? Because the guru is the one who removes your goo, are they not? Ru, the basis of the word sunshine, light, that ru, that ram, that ra, guru is removing the goo, and we are arranging the goo. So think of ourselves. Look at your apartments. You've arranged them a certain way. And when you get in a mood, you rearrange it, don't you? Is that re the same re as Vritam? Do you rearrange it following the Ritam? So now, here we are inside Prakriti. And now you know that there's a delivery schedule and that the karmic airplanes don't stop for the COVID crisis. And that when the moment is right, they download the result of an action you put in motion 3 lifetimes ago. But it has your fingerprints. Your Atma's fingerprints are on it. As the great Chanaka Pandit once said, just as a baby calf finds its mother in a herd of 1,000 cows, so a person's deeds follow them to where they are and find them. But what Jyotishis know is that the beings doing the delivery can be studied as something called your Rasi Chakra, the horoscope of your birth. When a Jyotishi looks at the horoscope of your birth, they go, Hoi Veda, they see the delivery schedule and what's being delivered to a certain amount. But the grahas are the delivery system. So a couple more words then in Sanskrit. Are we doing all right? Too much Sanskrit? No? No such thing? Good. I thought I was with the right crowd. I've never given this talk in such detail and at such a high level before. I really could see that you were hungry for this. And I hope you're enjoying it. So now, 2 words that are totally misused when translated into the English language. Pap and punya. You know these words. Pap and punya. And they have 2 other words that go with them, suk and duk. Pap does not mean sin. Sin is a Christian word. It is not a Vedic term. There is no sin in the Veda. Because in Christianity, sin is something you have when you're born and you never had another life. It's some mysterious thing you must have done to offend the Christian deity, and you're born a sinner, and only the Jesus medicine, I'm not being satirical, I'm just telling you the truth, only the Jesus medicine can cure sin. That's the structure of Christianity. You have an incurable disease, we have the only cure, and it's called Jesus. You will die of the medicine and go to hell forever of the disease if you don't take the Jesus medicine. And that's called sin. That's why we never use the word sin in the Vedic context. Because cause and effect is not sin. It's just the process by which everything within matter happens. We have 2 terms. Pap, that means, oops, you violated a law of nature. Or punya, bravo, you followed the law of nature. Just imagine, whatever you do, there's audience response afterwards. If you violate a bunch of laws of nature, the audience goes, boo, no, boo, 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 pop. So you should hear them booing when you do pop. And punya, they're going, yay, bravo, wonderful, that was a good one. You landed that one, yes. You followed the laws of nature. So what do you get from pop and punya? That you'd never ask. Duk and suk. Not bad or good. Those are also incorrect words. Good is God with 2 O's and bad is, I'll tell you later, but it's not the right word. It's suk and duk come from pap and punya. Punya gives you suk. Suk is where we get sugar from in English. It means sweetness, pleasure, happiness, feel good. Suk is feel good. Violate the laws of nature, you get duk, In English, put up your dukes. I'm going to hit you. Duke means to give you pain. Pop will give you pain. Nope, no choice in the matter. Once you do the pop, the duke is on its way. And as soon as you do the punya, then sukh is on its way. And as you can see, our lives here, pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain. What does the Bhagavad Gita say? Heat, cold, happiness, and distress arise in due course and pass away, like the changing of summer and winter seasons. A wise Atma is not disturbed by such changes. Pain, pleasure, both the same to a yogi. Temporary, feels good, doesn't feel good, doesn't feel good, feels good. We're just surrounded by feel good and not feel good experiences, which are just the result of us going against the laws of the ritam or working with it, of the pop and the punya, of the sukh and the duke. Now, once you understand that, the next thing to know is that you're growing a garden. And that everything that you do plants the seeds that are growing in that garden. And that brings us to our last couple of Sanskrit words on that garden. And then with that, we're going to open for Q&A. So start thinking about a question. Don't ask one and really ask two, but start thinking of a good question you'd like to ask. Now, the next words are that the garden is growing all the time because it was created, and what's growing in the garden was put there in previous lives. So if there's a tree growing inside of you and it's time for it to bear fruit, then that fruit will fall off the tree. And that is the ripe fruit, karma. If it's in a seedling form, it's just beginning to grow. And in the context of cause and effect, each of these stages is described. For example, when you meet someone, you hope you made a good what? Impression. So everything we associate with, within nature, leaves an impression upon us. If we associate with it again and again, seed in us. It's Sanchita Karma. It gets inside of us as a seed and starts to grow. And if you don't remove that plant, then it'll grow and eventually become prarabdha karma. It'll bear fruit. So just think of yourself as in this gardening process, and your own city has this beautiful garden at the center of it. And you're either growing poisonous plants or healthy plants, beautiful flowers or not so beautiful flowers. And last of all, the word upaya. Think of it as oops. 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 Upaya. There's some medicine, there's some remedy that I could do that would undo some of the harm I caused, or that would rectify the behavior that caused the harm. That's an even better upaya. The best upaya is mantra. Is doing what you didn't do correctly the first time, correctly the next time. Because all of this is not punishment. Teaching us how to stay balanced within Prakriti and stay focused upon Brahman and to attract the optimum of learning from our journey here to Prakriti before we decide to make our return journey to Brahman. And your initiation into Jyotish karma as we Jyotishis see it, and as it is described, and the texts that support that, is all of us, like the Pandavas and like Rama and Sita, we're exiled from our true nature. We're surrounded by people trying to twist us. Oh, did I the word vritti is advertisements. Because advertisements are just trying to twist you and force you to buy the product. Yes. So untwisting yourself is called yoga. Janardana, karma phalado. Graha, the planets. Rupi, their function, delivering the karma. On behalf of Jana Ardana. So last piece, we are just like Draupadi and Arjun. We are in exile from our twisted relatives, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. We are looking for Dharma as the answer to the vrittis, as the upaya. And we're trying to find our way back. And Lakshmi, and there's a portal that goes back. And the last two avatars, Ram and Sita and Krishna, and information about what is beyond that. And with that summary, thank you very much. We're now open for questions. Please make it be a single question and try to be as relevant to the topic as you can.
Question. Anita?
So, Anita, if you have a question, then yes, please operate your microphone and ask the question.
Thank you. Yes, so my question is, we reference to a lot to the Dharma and the laws of nature when you talk about Bhap and Punya.
We're having a microphone problem. Each speaker speaks, perhaps all.
So can we shut off some of the videos, please, and that might help our bandwidth problem. And then please mute yourself unless you're actually asking the question. That will keep the audio quality the highest that we can keep it. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so the question was about the laws of nature that we sort of reference to quite a lot. Can you hear?
Yeah.
We're still having the
You need to slow down, Anita. It's just so that we can catch every word. Just so that we can catch every word.
So
we're going to try leaving and coming back in.
Okay. All right. Why don't you do that? And that might improve things. So they've just left the talk, and they're now going to come back in. So Anita, that allows you to formulate your question even stronger and articulate it in your best.
Oh, no pressure then.
Okay, let's wait for them to come back in, because they were having, towards the end there, we were having some dropouts.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see what we can do about that. So Christina, can you monitor the line and make sure we let them in when they come back into the thing?
I will do, yeah, thank you.
Right. Interesting talk. I mean, it's from a perspective that we don't really get very much. So nice to have you back. Let's have your audio back on. Connect shortly, and then Anita will be able to pose her question.
Yes, the sound problem. Good.
So
Right. Let's try.
you can hear me okay now?
Yes, we can, Anita. Thank you.
Fantastic. So we talked a lot about the laws of nature, particularly at the beginning and at the end of discussion where we talked about Bab and Bunya, Duk and Sukha. You referred to the laws of nature and again following these laws of nature. So my question is about the laws of nature. So someone new coming into sort of the yoga world or the yoga experience, what are these laws of nature? Are they the 8 limbs of yoga? It talks about the yamas and the niyamas, and what are these laws of nature that we should know? We should know.
This is the necessity of having a guru, because the guru is supposed to be a carrier for the various pieces of information that act as medicine or remedy for not knowing the laws of nature. And as you suggested, the yams and niyams within Ashtanga Yoga are like that. You can see that the lifestyle is a very important problem. And this brings us, if we were to discuss it for a lengthy period of time, into the 3 gunas, because we didn't have time to discuss that all-important subject, but nature itself is divided into the tamasic, the rajasic, and the sattvic, which is to say every object, every food, every activity that we carry on within matter has an effect upon us that is either going to make us dull and unconscious, overly stimulated and desirous, or bring us to this sattvic balance. So you could say that the Vedic civilization is a culture that has built into it many of these principles that if one follows them, they stay in the balance point. And it's why we don't try, as those practicing the Vedic civilization, to use coercion to share our knowledge with others. We don't attack them, burn libraries, or even try to force a conversation. In the Bhagavad Gita, the secret that Krishna gave at the end, I started talking earlier about those secrets, was the secret that you should never share. He says to Arjuna, have you understood what I've explained in the Bhagavad Gita? And Arjuna says, yes, I have. Krishna says, great, now do what you want to do. So he still leaves him his free will. And then Arjuna says, yes, I'm going to do this. And then Krishna says, great, so here's the last secret. Never force someone to learn this knowledge. Only when they're hungry for it, may you give it to them. So, although the gurus know the rules that we should be following, the system isn't punitive, because we already understand that nature is going to be the one to give you the response. So we try to say what to do and what not to do in a soft, non-coercive way. You can see what happened with the other religions. They all have some wisdom in them, but the more impatient of them started being quite violent about forcing people to practice. And now the cure was worse than the problem. instead of trying to teach them how to not violate the laws of nature. They violated the people and everyone. The world hasn't recovered from this yet. It's still going on. In the name of the divine, terrible things are being done. So this medicine in the Vedas is very soft. You could almost miss it because the tone of voice is waiting for you to be ready for the medicine. But the Vedas are that medicine in its various forms.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nita.
Somebody else with a question?
Hi, I would like to ask the question.
Sure. Tell us who you are.
Hi, sorry, Jeff. My name is Colin. I was just actually interested in listening to what you said. I have a bit of I'm kind of confused in something. From what I understand, karma is almost like we're kind of sort of being pulled, like the seasons, almost, constantly being pulled forward through our actions. Due to this, I don't really understand the concept of how we could go backwards. So like sometimes people talk about like taking birth in like animal bodies and like from like bad action. Because we don't indirectly cause good or bad action, it's just kind of, we're environmental beings. How then do we go backwards?
Colin, it's an important question because we're so used to a punitive system, and we've been twisted by that concept of a punitive system. We don't really have the self-esteem that we should have been given by being respected as adventuresome Atmas who've gone on this journey. And it isn't that we're evil just for going on the journey. Of course, we could go down dark roads and become tamasic and then get onto the negative side of Prakriti. But the fact is that we're heroes for going on this journey. And this is why we don't frame this in a way that makes it evil. We're not evil for being here, not in any sense of the word, but we're bound to make mistakes while being here. And mistakes are mistakes. But the recovery from those is that we're supposed to learn. The learning is the medicine and the association of a guru. And the twisted experiences we've come from are something that we're supposed to extract the learning from and then get rid of the disablement that came from that. So the ideal is a continual process of refinement. And the very fact that you're all listening to what I'm saying right now shows that you're hungry for the medicine. So why aren't there millions? Why isn't this beautiful knowledge just right now a television show that's easy to pass around to everyone? And why doesn't the whole world just sort of calm down a little bit and relax and realize that killing each other is not the right way to go about this? Now, there are some people that have to fight, but that's another subject we didn't have a chance to look at, and that's the kind of body you're in determines what you're designed to do. We do need warriors, but they shouldn't kill the innocent and harm people in ways that are incorrect. They should be protectors, not asserting themselves and despoilers of culture. So, because you come to this knowledge hurting and twisted, that's what the guru is for. To help you, you might say, kind of a psychotherapy that you get to a stability. And in that stability, you now make steady progress. And then it doesn't seem as punitive as it did at first. If you come in from the wrong perspectives, it all seems punitive. But really, it's just reaction. Good question.
Understanding that, and I apologize. Actually, okay, I think my question, I apologize. Thank you very much, sir.
No, it was a great question, Colin. Thank you. And read my books. I've written some pretty good books that describe the beginnings of this, so you'll get the foundational knowledge.
So just to finish on that, so there is a reasoning then why we can go backwards on the karmatic scale into animal bodies and trees and other essence instead of being constantly pushed forward.
Well, it's not so complicated. Just think of it as a school. The universe is a university. And just think of it as K through PhD. Don't make it difficult. So it's not punitive. Whatever we do, we're just saying what kind of body we want next. We go back to it again. But if a human becomes an animal, they don't stay animal and work their way all the way back up. They bounce down. Like if you have a dog, if you love the dog too much, you could become the dog in your next life. It's not a punishment. It's just because that's what you were loving. So you could bounce down to dog, stay there for a while. That's why some dogs seem like humans, or animals seem almost like people. And then after that life, you'd bounce right back to the human spot where you had been, kind of a where was I? So remember, it's not a punitive system. That's what's important. Even the worst offender is not being punished. Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you so much.
There's a good question here. It says, from Anita, can you have more than one guru?
Of course, the answer is, it depends. You should have it one subject at a time. One guru per subject. But on another level, let's say it differently. Yes, the formality of the relationship with a guru is useful and important. It's kind of like you found a teacher you really, really want to hear from. But everyone who speaks the truth is for that moment your guru. So another way to look at it is whenever someone speaks the truth, they are my guru. So there's a formality, there's a Diksha guru, which means you've accepted them as your, for the moment, permanent teacher, and you treat them with a great deal of respect. Then there's anyone who's teaching me truth. They're momentarily your guru, and you bow to that truth. You don't believe everything they say, but that was wonderful. You see? So guru is in a gradient as well. And there are many different subjects. Technically, whoever teaches you a subject is also a guru. So I've had a guru of Vedanta, a guru of Jyotish, I've had martial arts gurus, I've had many different kinds of gurus, and each one of them gets the same respect. But usually you have a lineage or a guru that is the subject you're specializing in this lifetime. Don't rush that, but you'll find it in the course of time. You'll find who you really need to hear from.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Well, I certainly want to thank Ramanuj and Sonali for organizing this talk, and all of you for participating. I gave you the advanced talk, as I said before, and your questions are welcome. So if you didn't feel like coming online to ask a question, feel free to email us and to be in touch with us, and we'll be glad to continue this as a conversation. We also have Wisdom Wednesdays that we've been doing while the confinement of COVID has been going on. And so if you look on our website, you'll see a lot more information that you could be in touch with.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. That was a wonderful talk. Really enjoyed it. Been here the whole time, listening to it, trying to get the detail of it. It's always nice to hear this perspective that you bring to the subject. Deeply thankful for being here, and I see from the chat lines everybody else is too. Thank you so much for being here. We will pass the recording and we'll pass the details of Jeffrey's website. He has an awful lot of material that is available from his website. Do go there, because it's really, really encouraging to see somebody who spent so long and accumulated so much knowledge in this area. We thank you again. Thank you very much indeed. Stay well, stay safe, everyone, and we shall meet again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramanuj, for shining this light out into the world.
Thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.